Have you ever heard music in woodland? And if so, what did you make of it? This is something that's happened to me quite a few times, and often it's been when I've been out during a full moon in the evening and I've been in woodland and I will hear some kind of rhythmic drumming. Yesterday it happened when I was on a dog walk and I was in broad daylight. Now obviously there are mundane explanations for this, which could absolutely be somebody's playing music in a car or somebody's playing music in a nearby house and the sound is being carried on the wind. Absolutely understandable. However, yesterday there were some very odd coincidences that happened. So I heard this music and I turned to the person I was with and I said, "Can you hear the drums?" And they said, "Oh yeah, that's weird." And I made a joke and said, "Oh, I bet it's a fairy party." I appreciate we're supposed to call them fae or the good folk, but fairies is what came out yesterday. Anyway, they laughed it off, and as we were walking, they said to me, "So how would you summon a fairy?" This person is not witchy at all, I might add. And my response was, "I don't think you'd want to summon a fairy." They said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because fairies are not the nice creatures that you see portrayed in movies." And they said to me, "Well, what about Tinkerbell?" And I said, "That is a cartoon." Anyway, so that was the conversation that we had. As we were walking on a little bit further, my eyes were really drawn to these beautiful red berries on a tree. To the point that, because I'm not a particularly green witch and I have to rely on my plant identifier, I pulled my phone out, got my app on, took a photo, and I'm going, "Oh wow, these berries are gorgeous, let's see what it is." Hawthorn. It was hawthorn. Not only that, the person I was with had carried on a little bit further down the path and suddenly turned to me and went, "Wow, look at these berries." And I walked over to them. I immediately left the hawthorn, and I might add I did not take anything with me. And I went over to where they were standing, and there were these beautiful, big, blue berries. So again, I get my trusty plant identifier, take a picture, it's blackthorn. Out of the whole place that we were in, with the multitude of species of plant that there were, the two plants that both he and I were drawn to was hawthorn and blackthorn. Now, to be fair, when I'm out and about I do look at plants, but I found it very interesting that it was this particular hawthorn tree that I was suddenly drawn to, and the person I was with is not a green-fingered person at all, doesn't normally talk about plants at all in the slightest, and for them to say to me, "Wow, look at this," that was strange. I appreciate all of this could have a very mundane explanation, just coincidence, the wind carrying sound, and we just happened to have that type of conversation. But I did find it incredibly odd that the two trees and plants we were drawn to were those that are relatively associated with the good folk. Anywho, if you've had any sort of similar experience, please let me know. And if you think I'm just mad and that it's completely normal and mundane, let me know that too. Have a great day.